Here in Duluth, Mayor Reinert is proposing what he calls an inflation-only tax levy for 2026.
Yeah, the mayor is presenting that to the Duluth City Council tonight, just months after saying our city faces a more than $7 million budget deficit.
Northern News Now's Sophia Lauber spoke with Reinert ahead of tonight's meeting and is live outside City Hall for us. Sophia, his proposed tax hike is smaller than you'd expect given our current budget challenges.
Yeah, I was able to catch up with Mayor Reinert before he presents at Duluth City Hall here tonight. He tells me that he's proposing, in light of that budget deficit, he's proposing a 4.1% maximum levy increase. And as you mentioned, that's to catch up with inflation. However, that actual number is brought down by growth in Duluth's tax base, so the actual burden felt by property owners will be a 2.7% increase. Last year, the city had a flat levy increase, which Reinert says was a direct response to feedback he heard on the campaign trail, with residents telling him they needed a break on taxes. But he adds the city can't afford to continue absorbing costs from inflation, especially as staff wages have increased.
And so I articulated that very clearly. Said, number one, this is an intentional pause, a pumping of the brakes to let people catch their breath. And then number two, it's not something we can do every year.
Once proposed to the council, they'll have until the end of September to set the maximum levy. Until the budget is set in December, the actual levy amount could go down, but it won't be able to go above what's approved by the council. Reinert says that this inflation-only levy means about $2 million in revenue for the city. So he also plans to talk to councilors tonight about other strategies to help close that budget deficit of nearly $7 million. We'll have a full recap of that meeting tonight at 10. Live in Duluth, Sophia Lauber, Northern News Now.